Back in that bag again. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Hey. Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it. Now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she sliding, tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that shit doing. Then she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going?
Hey, back in that bag again. To bring me around your friends. You know that I'm bagging them. Request me on Facebook. No, I ain't adding them. Positions I had her in. Hit from the back. That pussy was splattering. Calling her friend. Tell her pull up. Word, let's make it a gathering. They loving that
baby, nah, I'm matic now, but she loving the splash again. I just be cashing in her buns, just like a wedding, I'm crashing in. Hundreds on hundreds, I'm moving and grooving. She wanna cut up, I'ma slash again. Buckets on buckets, I'm switching edition. Back in my bag, going back again.
I feel like Aladdin, yeah. I'm on the carpet, flying through orbits, ain't doing no talking. Wow. They on my body as soon as I walk in, bitches be stalking. They loving the drip, they think I'm a force, it gotta move cautious. Back in my duffel, I'm working a double like I'm in the office.
Tell them to watch it, now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she sliding, tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that shit doing. Then she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on.
There we go. How about we turn on my microphone? All right, show's a kicking. I just got a cup today. It says live happens. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Live happens. It just happened. Hopefully that's the only glitch for this show. My name is Jeremy. I'm aka the Rainy Cajun, and today I'm super excited because this is going to be an episode that is probably one of the episodes that I've looked forward to the longest. If you know New Orleans, and even if you don't know New Orleans, chances are you've heard the term Poboy. Poboy is the quintessential sandwich in New Orleans. Some people might argue it's the muffalata, which we'll do in another episode down the road. I'm certain about that. But in this case, people eat po' boys on a daily basis. It's kind of like going to Subway or Blimpie or Quiznos. Oh yeah, I guess it is Quiznos. Anyway, there's a ton of sandwich options all around the United States, but po' boys are very much a New Orleans staple. And today I'm going to continue episodes related to po' boys. So this is episode 3 of 3, where we will cover what I consider to be the holy grail of po' boys, and that is the roast beef po' boy. So let's go ahead and get started. Louisiana. From its iconic cities to the swamps of Acadiana, its geography is just as diverse as the people that live there. To this day, family is at the core of who we are, and one of the things we love to do is share. As a rainy Cajun, I might be what you consider a Louisiana expat. Now living in the Seattle area, one of my missions in life has been to share my culture and introduce more people than ever to the place that I still call home. So grab your favorite beverage, find a spot to sit back and relax. The next episode begins now. All right, welcome back. Let's get rolling. So today we're going to talk about a roast beef po' boy. Last week, you may recall for episode, our part 2 of the po' boy series, we covered fried shrimp po' boys, and I will kind of circle back a little bit on that one because there's some things that I probably should have talked about a little bit more, specifically around bread and then the chips. Some of the feedback I got from my producer, aka my spouse, basically just said, hey, you really should talk about why these are so important. So we're going to get into that today. And we're also going to look into what is probably the best recipe that I saw for making a roast beef po' boy. And to be fair, I want to give credit where credit is due. This was from In Judy's Kitchen on NOLA.com. And so let me pull up that website real quick and you can see. There we go. There she is. And so Judy, she gave credit where credit was due, and that was to Parkway Po' Boys. So Parkway is a very popular destination for locals and tourists alike for po' boys. They are a bakery in addition to being a sandwich shop. They've got a full bar. Of course, most places in New Orleans do have a full bar, not all. But this recipe is based largely on her recipe, which is based largely on the recipe from Parkway. So it's really a 3-step process, and we'll go through the process of what it takes to actually make a po' boy. So, hello. So you can see here she's got a full-on, so you can see with her particular, let's go ahead and watch it on YouTube here.
This Taylor Farms everything salad is amazing.
Full screen.
So good. Can I try some?
And we don't need the ads. Come on.
Oh, hey, how is this?
Oh, by the way, I should probably say like and subscribe so that I can afford to get YouTube Premium so we don't have to wait for these silly ads. Your support goes a long way. Okay, so You can see in Judy's Kitchen, she talks about, I'm just going to kind of step through real quick, but you see she's got a large piece of meat there. That is a roast chuck. I used chuck steaks for our version of it, but essentially it's chuck. And then she goes through the process of what it takes. Gotta, season up your your beef, and I went with it a little bit differently because, as some of you recall, I did have a restaurant with my wife, and one of the things that we did serve was Poboys, and this was by far the roast beef Poboy was our most popular. Okay, so she's got some cream and mushroom there that she's putting in. This other gal is seasoning in the roast, and then they're just going to go through the motions. And then she gets a nice cast iron pot, ceramic coated, probably Le Creuset, and then she's going to braise on both sides. And you're going to see me do all of this as well. And you can see her kind of stepping through, and then she adds the sauce, and after the meat is braised, this sauce just basically the meat stews in this sauce, and the end result is kind of what you see there. And you pull out your meat. And I tried today. I tried pulling the meat out after cooking it. Cooked it for 5 hours. Probably could have gone faster had I cooked it differently, but I used a crock pot. You'll see this. But you can see she's separating out the veggies that they put in the sauce, and they're kind of mushing them down, and then they're going to put them back in the sauce, and that's going to become the gravy. There is a place called Mother's Poboy in New Orleans, and they have a coating that they put on their po' boys. It's called debris, and debris is basically that. It's the drippings from the bottom of the pot. So you see there, she's using, I believe that's blue plate, and she says that it's for protecting the bread, and probably that's a good thing. But of course, good mayonnaise does lend some flavor, and as many of you remember from the last episode, we did put some Japanese mayo on the po' boy that we did, and it was spot on. I'm not a big fan of fusion or anything where you're kind of altering what is the base that defines that dish, but in this particular case it was necessary, let's put it that way. Okay, so you see there they got the po' boys, and you can see they're messy. And they've got tomatoes and pickles, mayo. That's it. I think I've said this before, but that's it. That's all that goes on the po' boy besides the protein, unless you're doing vegetarian, which I don't even know why you're at a po' boy shop anyway, but we'll leave that for another time. All right, so I'm going to take you through how we did it, and then you're going to get a chance to see the finished product, and then get a chance to, well, you can get a chance to watch me eat it. This is my lunch. I've ever since I started this podcast, I think I put on about 15 pounds. I never thought that this would become a cooking show, and I still don't intend for it to become a cooking show. But that said, you guys want to know about New Orleans cooking, and there's nothing wrong with having multiple renditions of the same recipe. But I would urge you, I have links on our YouTube page. I would urge you to go through the links. The link to the NOLA.com site is there. Parkway is there. There are 2 other Poboy spots in Louisiana, or in New Orleans, that I'll get to later. I'll go through the links and we'll take a look at it. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our video. And I might stop it from time to time so I can call out some things here. We now have John Madden style telestrator. So here we go. So I'm using, right there you can see, that should be the, let's turn that off for the moment. I'm using, I'm going to go back a little bit here. And you can see there, I'm using what's called, it's called shaker pepper. And what that is it's a coarser grind pepper, and so you're going to find that produces. Turn this on now that I know what I'm doing. What? Okay, so I got my iPad here. And you can see right here on the screen, this is designed to go inside a pepper shaker. This is a restaurant size, but you can also see how coarse that is. This is not your black pepper grind that you would find at the grocery store. If you get the peppercorn with the grinder, you can do that, but I would just go to your local restaurant supply store and find yourself some of this stuff. It'll last forever, and because you have to buy it in like these 2-pound bags. And then moving on here, garlic powder, and let's see. I wonder if there's a way to play that animation. Blah, blah, blah. No. I'm sure there's a way to do this, but I'm going to do it the hard way this time around, because this is one area where I didn't set it up right. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn this guy off. And let's move on. All right, so there's our garlic powder. I don't know, California garlic powder, whatever. And then you can see that we have a Trader Joe's here, clearly. And then we just got some salt from Costco, kosher salt. Kosher salt is definitely a better way to go for a seasoning. So let me go ahead and we'll advance forward here a little bit. And you can see here, this is just the braising seasoning. So first thing you're gonna do is you're definitely going to you're gonna want to create that rub, and then you braise it on both sides. And you can see there, I'm taking one of our, I believe this is an all-clad pot, and I'm just braising it on both sides. You're not cooking it all the way through. I mean, literally just a couple of minutes on both sides. And you can see it's red inside. And then we get to this brown sauce. So what is in there? So we're using, now again, you can find this stuff online, but we're using really simple ingredients. We're using a beef bouillon, and this is going to be the sauce that the meat stews in for several hours. And then we're using, let's see if I can find, there we go. I wonder if I can, so this, you guys ever seen this? Kitchen bouquet? I tasted it last night for the first time. It's not good by itself. Oh, my Poboy is on the way. Yay. Thank you. Okay. So that's the kitchen bouquet, and we mix that in with some beef bouillon, and then we're going to add veggies on top of that. So let me go ahead and you can find this kitchen bouquet. You can find that pretty much at any grocery store. Yeah, you can find it at the grocery store. That was my producer wife. Okay, so you mix those two together. Not much more bouillon than you do than the kitchen bouquet. It's just a couple of tablespoons of kitchen bouquet. Again, the recipe's on the way. And we'll go cream of mushroom. I forgot about that. That right there, my friends, this is the secret weapon in the sauce. I forgot to mention that we add, this is a fairly large, it's like a can and a half's worth of cream of mushroom, and that was good enough for about 5 pounds of meat, just so you know. Kroger's a big brand here. Okay, and then we'll move on. Of course, we have our veggies, and this is easy: onions, carrots, celery, a little bit of thyme, some bay leaves, really just the basics. And then what you're gonna do is you mix your sauce together with the veggies. And what I ended up doing was I went in and I just essentially cooked this down. I took it down, I got it boiling just a little bit, and then I transferred all of this over to our crock pot. So you can see here, it's looking good. Of course, it's all in its parts right now, but this is what you would see if you were cooking it this way. It's just a nice stew. That if you cooked it down and you had it by itself, it would be pretty dang good, but it's even better when you put the beef in there. And you'll see a lot of this stuff won't be there at the end of the video. So I get it boiling, like I said, and that's my money shot right there. It's like a swirl of stew. It's so good looking. And then I go ahead and I'll turn that off. I'll transfer this over to our crock pot. And that is pretty much it. Then next thing to do is to just go ahead and kind of get everything out of there. And if you get some burns or scorch marks, it's not going to really impact the flavor of the roast beef, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. And you can see here I'm just putting in the roast beef, or braised beef at this point. It's not quite roasted yet, but you want to coat these things, and this is something that Judy talks about in her video. But you want to make sure that the meat is completely immersed in the liquid, in the stew sauce. The veggies can sit on the side if you want. They can be underneath. It doesn't really matter. I have 2 of them in there right now, and I've got it set to low. So the crock pot now, you can see it's starting to cook down. You see where the original line was. And now what I'm starting to do, this is after about 4.5 hours of cooking, I'm just checking the meat and seeing what is what's shreddable, what's not shreddable. Sometimes it comes in chunks, sometimes it doesn't. You're gonna see my po' boy in just a second. I mean, I can smell it, it's killing me. All right, so I just continue to pull, and one other thing you want to do here, if you're going to serve it hot, well, ideally what you want to do is cook this overnight, put it in the fridge in the morning, and then in the afternoon or for dinner time, you'll have something that's been cooling down, and the fat is separating from the what we call bad fat, is separating from the rest of the stew, so you can scoop that or skim that out at the end. And you can see here I've just got a little wire mesh, and I'm pushing my carrots through, and I'll take the pieces of celery and I'll just kind of scrape them, and the innards of the celery will go into the stew. You can see there, and that is what the finished product looks like. Well, not quite the finished product. The finished product is right here. And of course, let's see if I can get off the focus on me. There we go. Look at that. All right, so a couple of things. See here, no tomatoes, no pickles. I'm kind of weird that way. I like pasta with a red meat sauce, which is clearly tomato based. I eat pizza all day long, but I can't do sliced tomatoes. I mean, I'll do them, don't get me wrong, I'll do them if I have to, but they're just not my favorite to put on there. I can't really explain any other way. Pickles for me are kind of a non-starter, and it's really just because the pickles provide this sharpness to the po' boy that I'm just not a fan of. You do you, you know, that's it. You do you, and you know, if you like pickles, get yourself some crinkle cut dill pickles, and you know, you just lay about, this is a 10-inch po' boy, so I would say you probably put in 4 to 5 or so. So she put the mayo on here, and this is that Japanese mayo. Let me see if I can get that up too. You can. These guys. Kewpie products. There we go. No. Sorry guys, I'm doing some of this on the fly. All right. I'll just take the whole website and I'll put it on here for a second. And as you can see here, No, we don't want to join the club. Thanks for asking. But you can see here, this is the mayo. And the mayo actually comes in this like, it's a weird shaped bottle, but this is the special mayo that I've been talking about. Find it. You can order it online. You can order on Amazon. Asian shops should carry it. And like I said, even Costco carries it too. So that's, you'll find that out in the marketplace. Okay, so that's one modification that I did. And the other modification that I did, well, not really a modification, but something that I find, and I've said this, I've shouted this from the mountaintops since the beginning, was the fact that this bread is essential to doing a po' boy. There are people in New Orleans that say, if you can't find Leidenheimer bread, or if you can't find po' boy bread from Gambino's, or any number of well-known bakeries in the area, that's okay. Just get a brioche bun, or some kind of other type, French roll, pistoletta, that kind of stuff. Nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Take the time. This is going to be the ingredients for this you can find pretty much anywhere you are. I mean, in the world, the ingredients you can find. So the roast beef, the lettuce, obviously carrots and the onions and the celery, you can get all that stuff. The hardest part is going to be sourcing this bread. And there are some places that sell it online. They sell it frozen. Take the time, invest a little bit of money, and get this bread. It adds it's not dense. It adds a fluffy, almost airiness to it. And that in and of itself is unique. It has some flavor profile characters that are reminiscent of the water in New Orleans. So, even though New Orleans is not known for its high quality water, it actually does, it makes a really, really good po' boy loaf. So see if you can find it. They come in 8, 10, and 12 inches. And if you need to, hit me up on YouTube, and I'll get you links to where you might be able to find this for the Leidenheimer bread. And then one other thing I did, one of the reasons we were running late this morning, give me a second here. Last week, I talked about these zaps. Let me see if I can, it's focused on me again. There we go. So you see, now these zaps started out in I want to say it was the mid 80s or so. And this is one of their original flavors, the spicy Cajun crottators. They were purchased by an outside company out of Pennsylvania. They've definitely broadened their distribution, but they're also taking on these other projects or other styles of zaps that I'm not a fan of. If you can find these, World Market carries them. They are online. Just don't get the ones that are branded thin. Like, I don't understand this push away from kettle chips, because that's what these are. There's a crunchiness to these, and of course the seasoning makes us really, really nice. Not anything like you've had before. If you, in the Pacific Northwest, it's like a Tim's chips, but the flavor, you never find this on a Tim's chip. So, you can see, you look at it, and the chip itself, nothing too fancy about it, but this goes great with the po' boys. It's got a lot of flavor, and because it's cut thick, it does have. I'm gonna lay out tomorrow for you. That it does have some crunch to it. And a little bit of kick. Not much, a little bit. I'm used to it now. So make sure some people like to do like New Orleans themed parties, and they go and do all this stuff, and they do interpretations of certain types of New Orleans dishes. Trust me when I say this. Go with authentic here. The bread, the chips, you can do no wrong. You can fry shrimp all day long no matter where you are. And you can do this roast beef po' boy, and now you got the recipe in front of you. You'll be able to do pretty much anything. So, but I would just avoid going with, just please, for all things that are tasty and representative of New Orleans, please get the right kind of bread and make sure to get the Zaps. And do not get the thin Zaps. Don't get the thin Zaps. Zaps has voodoo, they've got regular, they've got salt and vinegar. I don't do any of that crap. I just do the Cajun crottators, and I'm happy. All right, so on to the big moment. And this is kind of an unnatural position for me because I'm sitting up to eat, and it's been sitting, so it is sloppy. Looks good, man. Oh my god, that's like, man, it's like my childhood memories just came back in a single bite of a sandwich. That's how crazy that is. So again, you take that plus some chips. Yeah. I never intended for this to be a food show, and I still plan on doing a lot about Cajun culture. But you guys have been asking me for this stuff, so I figured let me go ahead and get after it. And it's helped me kind of hone my skills a little bit too, because I've definitely had a little bit of a lull since having a restaurant. Okay, so a couple other things. If you're visiting New Orleans, try and get the Parkway. Another place in Metairie, which is not too far from, Metairie is basically right next to the airport, but it's a little part of town called Metairie. If you drive for about 10 minutes from the airport, there is a Poboy place called Shortstop Poboys, and their roast beef po' boys are to die for. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. So I would, and it's so low key. I mean, it's the kind of place you go into and you go, really? This place? And then there's a ton of grocery stores, gas stations. They all do their own po' boys, and they're all good. These are just the more well-knowns. If you happen to have relatives on the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain, or if you have an opportunity to visit, there is another po' boy place that I think I think it's going to give these other places a run for their money, or if it's not already, and that is Bears. And Bears is also in the link. But again, truth be told, there are po' boy shops all over the place in New Orleans. And but if you're going to make it at home, again, really the critical thing is that bread. You can even just go with the regular Hellman's or Blue Mayo. You don't have to use the Kewpie mayo. I just prefer it. It's my thing. All right. And I can call myself a native and get away with it because I am. All right. So that is going to wrap it for this episode. again, if you are looking for ingredients and you can't find them online, send me a message on YouTube, and I'll be happy to answer. Excuse me. I'm not used to talking so much for so long. And again, I put the links in there in the YouTube posting, so you've got plenty of choices to look at. And again, thanks to In Judy's Kitchen and NOLA.com for working with Parkway to produce this Poboy recipe. I think it's going to be really good. But again, it's really, really simple. Coat your meat, braise it, make your stew sauce, which is the the beef bouillon with the kitchen bouquet. That's it. That's the word I was coming up with. Kitchen bouquet, and then also make sure that you get those cooked together and give yourself time. If you can give yourself 12 to 24 hours, that's perfect. If you try and bang this out all at once, you can do it. It's just not, at least in my opinion, as good. So, all right. So then again, don't forget, if you like the contents of this episode and you want to see more, leave some comments down below. Let me know what you'd be interested in. I'll be more than happy to cover any subjects that are out there relating to Louisiana, New Orleans, the Cajun parishes. I'm all ears, and I am like a clean slate. So I will see you guys next weekend. Thank you so much for joining me and indulging me as I eat lunch while I'm on this call with you. So, oh, one other thing, you can get your hands on. I'll put this in just because I did something about this, and I want to say I had to pull it down because it wasn't quite ready for shipping. If you know red beans and rice, you've heard the Camellia brand. Red beans and rice being yet another quintessential New Orleans dish. And typically is there certain times of year, but almost always Mondays are red beans and rice days. So Camellia decided to put out a box of their red beans and rice for $2. So all you do is you add the protein and you cook it up, and I think so I would say give yourself about 2 hours if you're going to cook one of these. These are slowly coming to market. This is the first one in Washington State, as far as I know. And we're hoping that if you want more, reach out to Neil at Alpha's in Kent. And he works with the distributor who carries the Camellia brand. But that is brand new. That just came out. They were kind enough to send me. You can't really see it. Oh, there you go. Can you see it? I'll get out of the shot completely. All right, Mike, get out of the way. It's there. Trust me. That is a bag of red beans. But get yourself some of that too, because this is good stuff. And then, yeah, next week, just look for the announcement. We're trying to get some other food-related shows in, but we also have some other ideas for some other things that we have planned. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you so much for dropping in. Just remember to like and subscribe. I know I've said that several times now. But also, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button. And then if you have comments, they'll pop up here, and I can respond to those comments right away. So in the middle of the show. And eventually what I hope to have is kind of like a mailbox of sorts, and you can send me your questions, and at the end of every episode I can provide the answers. If I don't know the answer, I'll do the research before the episode. But yeah, that's something we hope to evolve, but you got to be on YouTube to do that. I mean, you can do it through Facebook, but man, Facebook's rules and their security policies are all over the map, and I can't keep up with them. So I would prefer to just do it all through YouTube, but I know a lot of you guys are on Facebook, so, and I'm on Facebook too. So. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend if you're watching on the weekend. Or if you're trying to fill time during the week because you're bored silly at work, come on back next Saturday and I will have a new episode for you. Till then, remember, it always starts with a roo. Jeremy's out.